in the most successful San Marino driver of all time. First points of the season for Rubens Barrichello. Ralf Schumacher, last year's winner, up on the podium again. There has been a Schumacher up there, a winner here for the last 4 years. Michael 3 times, Ralf once. Juan Pablo Montoya never really in at the sharpest end of the race, still scoring 3 points. Jenson Button ahead of David Coulthard. Button continues to be the top British driver. And just moving to see how the Drivers' Championship looks. Well, Michael Schumacher has now opened up a 14-point gap, 3 wins out of 4 for him. Montoya, the only other one in double figures. Button 2 clear of Barrichello. And David Coulthard, a lot of problems in the McLaren on 5 points. Let's go to the press conference now, shall we? And hear from the top 3 of the San Marino Grand Prix. Even sweeter, it takes them 3 points above Williams, the top of the Constructors' Championship. Now then, Tony Jardine, they're all celebrating there, aren't they? But, I mean, Michael nicked his car, didn't he? Nicked his teammate's motor.
Well, we were talking as they said that's what he'd done, and that's what the number 1 does. He takes what is slightly better. And obviously, as we'd said, we're watching qualifying, Rubens wasn't sure about the setup of it, and that particular car went so well, and Michael decided to nick it.
Yeah, that's just psychological, isn't it? I mean, just that little edge over your teammate. Yeah, your car's going very well, you're getting a little bit too close to me, I'll take it for the next day.
We look at the start, I mean, Michael Schumacher got away so well here, didn't he? And with that unbeatable Ferrari, the race was over very, very early, it would appear.
The start was clean, everybody got away nicely, but already the Ferrari's out in front. Schumacher, I have to say, was so impressive in those opening laps. I think a little bit unfortunate for guys like Alan McNeish there, had a bit of a stumble there with a drive failure by the looks of it. But again, we see a slight lock-up from Ralf Schumacher, and we've seen him dive into the turn 1 a little bit too hot on a number of occasions now, but he got away with it.
Yeah, that was McNeish sadly going off, but also you saw from here, Juan Pablo Montoya had a good look down the inside of Barrichello. You see Barrichello went across to try and put the squeeze on Ralf there, and then Juan Pablo really breaks late and thinks about going inside Rubens Barrichello and trying to take 3rd place. It was an exciting start.
A bit of rain on the camera lenses there. Would it have made any difference at all if it had rained, or would Schumacher have won even more easily?
I think they were ready for that. I think the tyre technology from Bridgestone would have been taking them ahead as well. I'm sure that they had every contingency catered for. But there's something else quite significant in this. This new car, there's still more development in the Ferrari 2002. Rory Byrne, who you saw up on the podium there, went to Luca de Montezemolo, the Ferrari president, and said, look, here's the designs of the new car. And Luca said, that's too revolutionary, you can't do that. Sorry, I'm not approving that. And they had to go back to him a week later and convince him. And that's how far ahead that car is. The others are going to have to make a big step to get up there with Ferrari.
Give us a driver's viewpoint on this incident between Eddie Irvine in the slow Jaguar and Rubens Barrichello in the flying Ferrari.
I mean, it's a situation what happens now and again. Eddie, you know, to give him his due, it's not easy to see somebody behind you. One car goes by, the second car, Rubens Barrichello, comes up behind. He obviously didn't see him, chops him off. A little bit disappointing for Rubens because he was on the back of Ralf Schumacher there in hot pursuit. A little bit of universal sign language coming up right now, I think. Yes. I think everybody knows worldwide what that means, and Eddie got the message, but very unfortunate.
Not a sign that we would encourage anybody to do on the roads of Britain, of course. And the Ferrari, the team, they seem to have it well set, and in fact they were relaxing and they were joking, weren't they? And there's, oh, this is all very easy, this, and but it doesn't pay in this sport, Tony, to take things too easily. This is Barrichello. It
doesn't. We're deep in Ferrari territory, and we're deep into a Ferrari era now as well. And I think they can afford that brief moment of relaxation, because between pit stops, it is very, very tough work. These guys work very hard. Make no mistake, they're extremely well drilled, and they're the top of their game. Michael Schumacher and the team were practicing pit stops. Rubens was practicing pit stops. They were practicing starts in the testing leading up to this Grand Prix. And also, they tested here in February with Bridgestone. No one else did that, and they put a lot of work into the tyre technology. Bridgestone did not want to be beaten again like they were last year by Michelin.
Okay, just pause there for a moment. Tonight we are joined live by Jenson Button down there. Jenson, you hear us okay? It's Jim Rosenthal in the ITV studio.
Loud and clear.
Hi, good stuff. Compare this season for us. Take a deep breath and compare this season with what happened to you last season.
I don't think really there is any comparison to be made, but all I can say is, you know, that for me, this has been probably the best race in my Formula One career. I mean, we got fifth position not by people failing, by actually being quick enough. So, you know, it's fantastic to finish fifth here, especially in front of the two McLarens.
Just explain that to us a bit more. The best race of your Formula One career.
That's correct. I think it is.
Why?
Why? Because, as I said, we were on the pace, and I pushed every lap to be as consistent as possible, but also to be as quick as I could, and it worked. And we were able to get past DC in the pit stop. So, you know, for me, this has been a fantastic race to push to be so quick on a circuit like this, where the last 2 years for me have been a disaster, really.
How come you've improved so much this year? Because you have found this place a little bit hard to fathom in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, it's the curbs. I mean, I try to drive as smooth as I can, and you know, around this place it's quite difficult because of the curbs. You got to throw the car over them. But you know, I've got to grips with it a bit more now. Just got a bit of a headache.
How much does it mean to you to be Britain's top driver this year?
It's great. But you know, the main thing for me is to be the top driver in the world. But you know, it's nice to be the top Brit, and hopefully it'll stay that way.
A couple of fourths and a fifth, got to be a podium soon, isn't it?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that one.
A couple of fourths and a fifth place has got to be a podium soon for you, hasn't there?
Oh yeah, I'd hope so. Hopefully the next race, Barcelona. But it's going to be difficult because, you know, the teams are so reliable now at the front, and I think we're going to have to wait a bit longer than we thought, and maybe at the end of the season when we're a bit closer to the two top teams.
Great start for you, Jensen. It's great to see the laughter back in your eyes as well. Terrific. Well done from all of us. Okay, Jensen Button there. When we return, we'll be answering a couple of your questions and the final words from Mark and from Tony. See you shortly. A word now with Juan Pablo Montoya, fourth in the San Marino Grand Prix. Here he is, chatting to Louise Goodman.
Juan Pablo, not one of your favourite races, I take it?
No, last year wasn't good. This year it wasn't good either. I think this year we had a better chance, but we put the wrong setup in the car, and I don't know if you could see, but I had a lot of understeer, and we were done.
I know you were having a lot of conversations with your engineers during the race. Is there anything you can do to make the car better in that situation?
Yeah, you do a couple of changes, but you know, if you try to solve mid-corner, then you start having problems with the entry as well. So it's very complicated to fix it just like that. I think the car was really good this morning, and we decided to change it on base of what we knew from Michelin, that it was the tire was going to go off. I think, surprisingly, maybe because of the conditions, the tire didn't went off, and I had understeer all the way through the race, and you know, there's nothing we could do.
The views of Juan Pablo. Now we want to hear from you. Nelson, here's the first question. Comes from Nick Cooper in Bristol. What exactly can a driver see in his wing mirrors? Can they see clearly back past the large rear wing of the car? And are there any blind spots? Mark Bundell has all the answers.
The answer to your question is not a great deal. What can I see from the driver's view? I can see the side of the monocoque, the rear tyre, and a very small area where the rear wing's taken up. So not a great deal. When do you use these? Sixth sense tells you that you'll use them when there's a car behind you. Remember one thing, these are actually 20% bigger than what they were last year. So imagine that. The other big issue, vibration. There's a great deal of vibration what runs through the car, goes up the wing mirror stem and shakes these things really badly. In my view, they're not really worth a great deal.
Cheers, Mark. Thanks very much. Next question. Dalby Burham from Derby. Can the cars be controlled from the pits? And if so, what aspects can be changed? On you go, Tony.
Well, they can now because they've got the bi-directional signals which can come from the pits. Telemetry can go both ways. But what they tend to be able to change is not things like the steerings or the wings or the tyres, but they can change fuel settings, engine settings, transmission settings. And that actually makes it safer, because what it means in the past, drivers like Mark would be fiddling around on the steering wheel or down by the dashboard, changing buttons and looking down. Next minute, they tend to run wide or something, so it makes it much safer.
Thanks very much indeed to Tony. Of course, all those questions delivered via the ITV F1 website, and Paul Stoddart, the Minardi boss, will be there. A live web chat with him 1 o'clock this Wednesday. Let's have a word with David Coulthard, shall we? McLaren have been really struggling this weekend. Here's David with Ted.
Disappointing race, David. What were your problems?
Well, just a general lack of grip. Basically, I drove the car hard as was possible. Very comfortable with that. Only one small mistake, which was trying to get out of the way of Michael. I ran over the curb at the last chicane, but otherwise, just felt like a total lack of grip because the basic balance was understeer in, oversteer out, all speeds.
And you didn't change your tyres on the second stop. What was the thinking there?
Well, purely because when I put the quality set of tyres that were in a couple of laps on at the second stop, then I struggled a lot bringing them through the sort of graining phase. So I didn't want to go through that phase again, but ultimately I still dropped away the amount of the fuel that was put back in the car. So clearly we're just a mile off the pace today.
They are struggling. Final verdict, Mark.
Total dominance by Ferrari, outstanding by Michael Schumacher. Jenson Button very happy for, showing a lot of maturity. And when was the last time we saw a McLaren get lapped?
Only?
That's very true. Just going into Barcelona, that's very much a Ferrari circuit. Long, fast corners, superb aerodynamics of the Ferrari, great balance. It means that all the other teams chasing, particularly Williams, BMW and Michelin, are going to have to work very, very hard to get on the pace of the Ferraris.
Thanks both. Highlights from Imola tonight, 11:45, as Tony says. Next port of call, Barcelona. Qualifying live, ITV 1, 11:30 on the Saturday. The race live pre-race show from just after midday. Highlights at 11:45. You know, they used to race chariots round this place. Today, Emperor Schumachus was always going to get the thumbs up. See you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
If you'd like to know more about Formula One, the website address, sponsored by Toyota, is itv.com/F1.